Hi class, I'm about to walk you through how to do this week's assignment in finding scholarly articles, newspaper articles, and magazine articles. The example I'm working with is one from our lesson, the image on how social media affects teenage girls' self-confidence. You will be doing this homework based on the same thesis you used last week to find your web resources. So you were able to choose between three theses that I provided to you, and you pulled out the keywords from that thesis and put it in the discussion post from week 3. So continue to work on that thesis, even though I'm using a different one for this example. And I'm going to perform a search looking for a scholarly article, a newspaper article, and a magazine on this topic. Looking at the keywords that were pulled out and some of the alternatives, I'm now going to go look for a database. So we're going to go to the library homepage and scroll to databases A to Z. Because this topic has to do with self-esteem, I want to look in a psychological database. So I'm going to go to subjects and I'm going to say, show me something related to psychology. And here is the database it's suggesting. I'm going to click on it. And then again, using these keywords and these alternates, and if I showed you down here, one of the ways you could create a search string, I'm going to do a little bit more basic of a search string in the database now. So I'm going to say self-esteem or confidence. And whenever I'm doing an or, I like to put it all in one line and put it in parentheses. It's almost like a mathematical equation. So it will process that request at the same time. Then I want to do teen. I'm going to do teen with an asterisk. Again, from your lesson, you've learned that the asterisk will truncate the search, meaning the database will now look for anything that has teens, teenagers, and it's just a way to do a single search. But I'm not sure if the writers might say adolescents. Now you'll notice that I'm getting the search I've done before. Yours may not have any promptings below. This, again, I want adolescents or adolescents. And I want to now look at girls. And then I need one more. What's important, and I can't leave out of my search, is that I am looking at how social media affects the self-esteem of teenage girls. So that's another key concept in my search. So I'm going to say social media. And again, from your lesson, you should have learned that if you put quotes around it, it will look for it as a phrase. It won't break up the words. And I'm going to run this search. And I see that I got 6 results, which is actually quite a good number. It means that our search was really focused. So this database gave me 6 results. And I can look at the titles on the results and see if I want to use any of these articles. So this one talks about differences between genders, so that's probably a good thing, how we compare boys versus girls. This is interesting. Social networking sites and desire for slimness. So that definitely has something to do with self-esteem and confidence because it goes to body image. Okay, so I think that the article that I want to look at here is this top one. So when you click on the title, you get taken to this page, which is a summary page. And the abstract is going to tell you about the study and give you a clue as to what it found. To open up the entire article, you're going to want to click on the full text link. I usually like to choose the PDF if it's available. So I click on that, and here I get the entire article as it was written. Now, obviously, if I'm going to write the paper, I have to know that this article contains evidence for my thesis. Let's pretend I read it and it was wonderful, and now I need to cite it as my academic source for this week. I'm going to go over here to the Cite tool, click on that. I'm going to scroll down to MLA 9, and I'm going to copy this whole thing. Control C, and as you'll see, I already have my Works Cited page, week open, and I'm adding it to it. Now, I know that the assignment says I also have to find a magazine and newspaper article on the same topic. So I'm going to go to source types, and I'm going to say, oh, I need a magazine. Just show me the magazine. And I get it. You can see the icon here doesn't say academic journals. So now I'm going to look at this and see if this actually meets my needs. Impact of social media on mental health of girls, and mentions growing incidents of sexual harassment, which is impacting girls' health. Well, this seems like the perfect article to use to support my thesis. So again, I'm going to open the full text. This is the article as it was written. I like it. It's got a lot of good sources in it. That's a good thing. It's unusual for magazine articles as well. Again, I'm going to go to the Cite tool. I'm going to scroll down to MLA 9. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste this. So now I have an academic article, and I have a magazine article. But I also need a newspaper article for this assignment. So since this database didn't have a newspaper article available, I am going to go back to my database list, and I'm going to choose either a different database that has all of the different types of articles in it, or I can go specifically to a newspaper database. So if I do subjects again, and I go down to news, now I'm getting newspaper articles. And I am going to choose just this first one. You can see the interface is a little bit different from the last one because it's owned by a different vendor, which I mentioned in the lesson. So as the vendors vary, the graphical interface will most likely vary. So for this one, I'm going to do the same thing. Teen, or adolescent. I'm going to put my parentheses around it just so that it does it in the right order of operations. And I'm going to say, quote, social media. And I'm going to add a row. And I'm going to say girls. Let's do this, girls. And I'm going to say, what's the concept I've missed so far? Self-esteem, or confidence. Is that what we did before? Okay, and I'm going to run my search. Okay, now this database, in addition to newspapers, has some videos, magazines, and blogs on it. You can see we've got 929 results. That's way too many for us to look through. So I only need a newspaper article at this point to fulfill my assignment, so I'm going to click on that. And that got us down to 372 results, which is still a lot. And maybe what I want to do is look for things that are most recent. So I'm going to choose, show me the ones that are most recent first. Because you can see if we scroll down here, my list goes all the way from 2010 to 2022. Well, we've learned a lot of things about social media since 2010, which is kind of when it started. And I want the newest information about it. So if I sort up here by most recent, then I can choose from those articles that maybe are most relevant today. So I'm going to scroll through these results and look at the titles and see if anything jumps out at me that may be good evidence for my thesis. This one here, why twin girls especially are struggling so much. And I'm seeing that there's social media in it. We know that it's about twin girls. Struggling usually has to do with your self-confidence or your mental health. Again, if I'm writing the paper, I'm going to need to open this up and mine it for those quotes and that evidence. So assume that you've done that and you want to use this in your paper and then in our works cited for this week. So you click on the full text, and here's the article, which you can read. Now again, remember I said that the cite tool can be in different places depending on the different vendors. And for this one, it's way up here. We're going to click that cite tool, and we're already on MLA 9 here. We're going to grab it, copy paste, and paste it onto your works cited. Just in case you missed it in the lessons, you can download these articles, you can email them, you can print them off. And you're welcome to do any and all of that. For this assignment, though, we really need that citation. Okay, so that's how you find your articles. Be sure to watch the next video where I will take your works cited page with all of its citations on it, and I will properly format it to show you how it's done before you turn it in. Thanks.